Hey guys, and welcome to a new build review. I haven't made one in quite some time now, but since the lethality just got changed, I didn't want to rush out one very quickly, and they did change the dust blade of Draktar, but now they haven't made a change for some while. I think they might nerf lethality again, because everyone's crying a lot at the moment it seems, but I'm still gonna talk about it. Just some more things before we start off. First of all, I feel like a lot of people didn't get my last video in their feeds, because I got asked a ton where the new community montage is, and I already uploaded it, so if you have missed it, it's the last video. I've put it in the description. Also, it's on the right top of the screen. You can click it there. There's also something how you can avoid this, only if you want to, of course. There's a little bell that you can click, and then you will get notified when I upload a video. You can do that if you want to. I'm not forcing anyone, of course. Also, I was thinking of making a Q&A video, because soon I'm gonna make a new channel that is gonna be a little bit more real life and other random stuff, because I'm also gonna travel to Japan soon and might make some videos about that. So if you have any questions or something like that, then write them in the comments below. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's start off with my build. Now, I've looked at a lot of different builds from, for example, Chinese Jester, Stealth Key, or Chase, or Beautiful Korean, and a lot of other people that came on my stream as well, and we discussed a lot of different builds. So I've put a lot of different items in here, and I'm gonna tell you what I do, what I've seen what a lot of people do, and you can decide what order you want to build. But I'm just gonna show you the most common one and the one that I think is the best in my opinion. Of course, it's always my opinion, so if you think otherwise, you can write it in the comments below, but don't scream like a monkey. Thank you. So now let's get started with the build. I start off with a Hunter's Machete. Obviously, I most of the time go revenue beat. Only reason where I would go refillable potion was when I was trying to invade, but even then I mostly still went revenue beat, because I want to get that time it quickly. And if you don't get off a successful gank and just clear, then it's really helpful to get time it earlier and not like have to walk around until you get enough gold for that. So I really like Rejuvenation beat. Jeez, I fucking hate that word. But if you want that extra mana and life, then and like want to stay longer in the jungle or something, then of course you could go for the refillable potion as well. It's all preference. And as already mentioned, of course, after that we're gonna go for time it, as in every build at the moment. Now for boots, I normally go for boots of mobility, but I kind of made myself the rule, if I feel like I'm not really getting ahead and the extended Q range won't really help me that much, it's really nice if you have extended Q range, because you can jump in front of the enemy and then put the box down or something and not just backstab him. So that's a great point to get boots of mobility. But of course, Berserkers is faster clear and better skirmishes in 1v1s in the jungle, obviously. But you're sacrificing some speed and map presence. But yeah, whenever I felt like I'm a little behind, then I went for these. But most of the time I still went for mobility boots. Now, after finishing this, there's 3 different items I've seen people go for. Now, what I've been doing for the longest time is go for Dustblade first item, but I've also recently seen a lot of people go for Yumus now that Dustblade got a little nerfed, but in my opinion I still feel like it's kind of worth to get that. And with Boots of Mobility, I feel like you already have nice movement speed. Of course, Yumus will help you even further with that. Someone else told me he was going for Berserkers, Dustblade, and then Yumus, and then when he has Yumus he got the speed, but I felt like that's a little late. But of course, everyone builds what he feels comfortable with. So I normally go for Dustblade early, and I still feel like the Night Stalker passive does decent damage if it's built out, and of course the Revealing Wards is really nice as well, and the 10% cooldown, you know what the item does. So yeah, just getting that damage. And after that, I normally first always went for Infinity Edge, just to get the damage in, but I feel like actually getting Yumus after that kind of feels, in my opinion, better now. You can get in the backline so quickly, and your job is to assassinate the AD carry, or the carry who's the most worth. Obviously not trying to kill that fat Munda or something, but if the Xerath has 8 kills and the Jinx is 0-3, then obviously you're gonna go for the Xerath. But yeah, Infinity Edge obviously does a little more damage. It has 70 damage, Humor has 55, but of course it has lethality as well. But I still feel like when you get Infinity Edge instead of that, with the passive which increases your critical damage, so your backstab feels really solid damage. Well, actually I shouldn't say solid, because these times are gone, but it feels okay for what we have right now. So I feel like here you kind of gotta decide what item you want to get first. Now I was talking about when I get behind what I would get, and that's just something that I came up with in my head recently. If I went for Berserkers because I felt like it wasn't going so great, then I still went for Dustblade, but after that I would go for Trinity Force and then into a Titanic Hydra. And this is kind of the definition of my Bruiser tanky type of Shaco. I still put in the Dustblade, but then I get that Trinity Force, and Trinity Force gives you so much, as we all know. I still love that item, but it's not really the definition of an assassin, but this is the closest I'm ever gonna get to Bruiser. And the Sheen feels really great. You get that chase potential, you get a little bit of tankiness, you get better clear and all of that. And Titanic Hydra makes you a little tanky, and also of course you get that instant reset which doesn't allow for much outplay potential. Now the thing is, if you build this though, I feel like, and go for a late game AD carry and you only have these items, carry is kind of fat and has some sort of life stealing item, for example a Blade of Ruined King on a Twitch. I feel like the kiting is pretty hard if you have this, because you don't obviously do as much if you would go for full damage. So if he like flash and then ults, you just get kited really easily. I mean, obviously if he flashed then you get kited with the other build as well, but with Yumus it's not gonna be that hard and you might just catch up and hit him in the back. But yeah, that's what the complaint I had with this build, but I feel like that's actually a really stable build if you don't want to go full assassin, Dustblade into Trinity and Titanic, or Yumus into Trinity, Titanic, if you feel like that's more of your style. But I felt like that felt really good. Just wanted to mention that. But yeah, my normal build is going these 3 damage items. Already stated, Infinity Edge is my last item after getting Yumus, just to get that nice damage in there. After that, 75% of the time I actually went for Trinity Force, which I haven't actually seen a lot of people do, but at that point I love getting a Sheen. I feel like when you get to that point you kinda want a little bit of that pushing power, and I feel like Sheen also gives you that little bit of last damage that you need at that point. Obviously you don't have a lot of space in your inventory and it's an expensive item, so I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, but that's what I enjoy doing at that point. I've also seen people build Static Shiv, which of course is a great item for clearing as well, and that little zap, I think it got nerfed a little, which turned me a little off, but Chinese Jester for example still builds this a lot of times, so still a buildable item. Then also there's the Guardian Angel, which gives you a little tankiness, then a reset in a fight so you can queue away, maybe if you want to kamikaze an AD carry and still be able to do some damage after that on a mage or something in the last fight. That could be pretty useful. And also Lord Dominic's could be a nice item to round off your build as well, especially as you're so squishy, you do a lot of damages with this as well, and because everyone's gonna be having higher health than you. Now I've already mentioned Titanic Hydra in the Bruiser version that you could go, but normally when I just go full damage and I get to a point where I have to choose a Hydra, I sometimes also sell the Time It just for another one of those items, or I go for the Ravenous Hydra just to get more damage. And it's also nice if you kill someone, you can heal up on your minions after that, just to get the raw 80 damage instead of the 35 that you get from Titanic Hydra. But the instant reset from Titanic Hydra leaves no outplay potentials, and of course a nice wave clear. So it depends on what you would like get there, but I prefer going for Ravens if I went for full AD. So this was my build. I'm very happy to hear your builds in the comments below, so write them down there, and of course your opinion about this build as well would be nice. But I think a lot of people are building that at the moment. So let's move over to my masteries, which are very straightforward. I do go for Wanderer in the Cunning Tree, which I see a lot of people go for Savagery, but I feel like getting that more map present and that movement speed out of combat feels better in my opinion. And of course going for Thunderlords, natural talent, Ferocity, just basic stuff. Now my runes are really cocky. I don't go for any armor seals. I go for 9 attack damage marks, which is normal, then 9 attack damage seals, which is extremely cocky. I don't know if I would recommend that, but I just enjoy getting the raw damages, and I don't know, I feel like late game it doesn't make that much of a difference, but you have to try that out for yourself. Then in glyphs, I actually go for attack speed, because in this build, if I don't go for Berserkers, which I don't most of the time, I don't have any attack speed, so I changed these out from AP glyphs to attack speed glyphs, but of course that's my preference. Then quintessences, I go for 2 attack damage and 1 attack speed. So I just have a mix of attack damage and attack speed in these runes. These are really wacky and you don't have to agree with me, but I just love running these. But if you just want to go for basic ones, then that would be attack damage, armor or health per level, and AP glyphs or attack speed glyphs, and 3 attack damage, 3 attack speed, just what you want, basically, what feels better to you. Also, runes are gonna get completely reworked, and I'm actually really excited for that, how that's gonna change Shaco, but I think it's still gonna be a while until they do change that. One last thing, the abilities you wanna level up, I try to get almost none in Q. If I get ahead, I get some in Q because I feel like I already have the damage. If not, I put it in E, but you can obviously just go for 3 in Q if you want to, but I just play around with looking how many I get and just trying to use my Q smartly, that's not a word. I just put the rest in E. So this has been it for this guide. I hope you had a little bit of an enjoyment, and be sure to tell me your opinions and write me some questions for a Q&A, would be really appreciated. I started streaming more actively. You can catch me on Twitch TV. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. I will be posting if I'm live there. Also, you could join my Discord. I'll be announcing on there as well, and also talk about the Shack a little, or just some random stuff. So if you feel like doing that, it's in the description below. Other than that, I hope you're having an amazing day. See ya.